Led by radical journalist William Lane, 238 Australians pooled their money and left Australia to escape economic depression, crushing droughts, and the violent defeat of labor strikes. Hoping to build a utopia based on equality and shared wealth in a communist society they would call New Australia, located in the South American country of Paraguay. Wanting to rejuvenate its economy and replace all the men they lost in the Paraguayan War, which was in fact 90% of the total male population in Paraguay, Paraguay decided to make a deal with Lane's organization, the New Australia Cooperative Association, in which William Lane and the association would receive about 460,000 acres of land in exchange for William Lane bringing the migrants to Paraguay. In order to join the 1893 New Australia Utopian movement in Paraguay led by William Lane, prospective settlers had to pool all of their assets and contribute a minimum of £60, the equivalent of 7,000 Australian pounds or 5,000 USD today, into a communal fund, along with surrendering all of their assets they owned to the commune. New Australia was to be a common hold rather than a commonwealth, a brotherhood of exclusively English-speaking whites. No other languages were allowed to be spoken there, and no other races were allowed to live in the community. All marriages were to be for life. There was no exceptions for divorce. For the preservation of the color line, they could not hire any Paraguayan workers as farmers, and they could not get any Paraguayan wives. As long as teetotalism, meaning they were not allowed to drink any alcohol whatsoever, and that the society would be based on communism, with everything earned being distributed fairly between every member. There was conflict among the settlers from the beginning over prohibition of alcohol, relations with the locals, and William Lane's leadership. As you can see by this quote by a fellow New Australian, Tom Westwood, stating, "I can't help feeling that the movement cannot result in success if that incompetent man, Lane, continues to mismanage so utterly as he has done up to the present. In New Australia, food was scarce, with no flavor, buildings primitive, weather harsh, and healthcare virtually non-existent, making life in New Australia very difficult and not the utopia the members expected it to be. This resulted in some 85 of the original party having either been expelled or simply left very quickly. Then a second wave of members came to join New Australia, having heard that it was successful from propaganda, and allied themselves very quickly with the remaining discontented original settlers and forced Lane to step aside and depart in April 1894. So William Lane and 58 of his followers left New Australia to find the society Cosme, a new communist society that would follow William Lane's strict rules and look towards his insight in the future. This now made Gilbert Casey the leader of New Australia moving forward. New Australians then recognized the colony under a more capitalistic structure, abandoning much of the socialism inherent with the original project. Along with that came the abolishing of nearly all the prior rules. Settlers could drink alcohol now, were not forced to pay to join the commune, and animals were held as personal property to those who owned them. Divorce was allowed now, and the marriage and hiring of work by locals was also allowed. By the end of 1894, property was privately owned, settlers and locals were mixing, and having discovered that the local Paraguayans had no use for their coupons, a cash economy was allowed to develop, with people paying others for goods and services. In Australia, news of the colony's turmoil and better economic times precluded any further significant immigration, and by 1897, only 150 New Australians remained. The association was dissolved as a cooperative by the government of Paraguay, with its property distributed among remaining members, and the colony became open to all settlers. Some Australians remained there, others to England, and others returned to Australia. Oh, and Cosme, which William Lane founded after being kicked out of New Australia, also went just as poorly, with William Lane abandoning the colony in 1899 to live in New Zealand, and the Cosme colony formally disbanding in 1909 due to the society not working out and life being very difficult. And as always, thanks for watching.